Alrighty. I think it's about time that we go ahead and get started. Although, got one last thing to do real quick. Now that I've got everything semi up and running. Alrighty. Okay. First, I want to go ahead and move over to there. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody's Tuesday going? Any practical jokes already being thrown around? Alrighty. That's good. Anyone got anything planned today? Anyone randomly get today off? And then told that they actually didn't get today off? Don't think that actually happened, but can never be too sure. Work, sadly? Yeah, I figured as much. I figured work was going to cause some issues for some people, although it is Tuesday, so I expect some people will be at work. And I expect some people will not be at work. But yeah. Let's see here. Just checking some things, making sure everybody's doing okay. I see Saribot has actually went in the, they just opposite their username for today. So that's funny. Small practical. Remember, I'm going to go ahead and state this. This is not actually a joke, but if your joke actually ends up hurting somebody, it's not a joke. That's just being hurtful. So, yeah. Just a reminder that practical jokes are meant to be funny, not hurtful. Should. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's just something that I should say. If you're planning on doing practical jokes, they should actually be funny, not harmful. They should not harm people. But we shall see. Alrighty. A few things. For those of you that have joined me early, do note that me going live this early isn't a usual. I just didn't go live yesterday when I probably should have, and I just wanted to go ahead and go live a little bit early. We will probably not be just doing Pathfinder First Edition today, just because I don't actually know how viable some of these builds are going to be, and some of them are not going to be great, so to speak. Some of them are going to be kind of bad. Bad is in the sense of they're probably not going to mechanically work. But maybe fun characters to play as in some like one shot at some point. Not saying that that all characters are bad, but your character should always have a definitive thing to do, even if it in or and out of combat. So, but I don't know if these characters are actually going to really be that good in or out of combat. I know some people are like, well, I'm playing insert class here and I didn't take any social skills. What can I do outside of combat? You can always try something. This stream is on April 1st, and it usually would end up being kind of like we're just being silly, but my ideas tend to sometimes divulge into, we're going to get into how well I can make one specific skill, and it might end up just not working because sometimes that skill is just not great or not good. Or we'll revolve around a combat maneuver that barely anyone knows about or anything like that. I'm just trying to think of some things real quick, just to kind of see how people are feeling today. I'm not sure if we'll actually play any other game. If I'll actually play some games today. We might be going most of the day, so that's always a good thing. Oh, I have a few announcements to note beforehand. If you're in my Discord, I did change up some things in the Discord. Discord has now been semi-changed. There also is a post for those of you who are actually interested in tabletop role-playing games. Do note you have to have the TTRPG role in order to see it, or unless you're a moderator on Discord. But I'm not 100% certain what I've set up for moderators. I think moderators should have access to all channels. If not, then I need to go in and fix that as the server owner. I wish to try to do a session 0 this Sunday. This, by the way, this is not a joke or anything like that. Like, I'm actually wanting to do this. I've been wanting to do this for a while. A session 0 for Rise of the Rune Lords on Sunday or Saturday. I think most people will be able to join on Sunday rather than Saturday, though. It will be at 2 p.m. Eastern time. It will only go for a certain amount of time. It will not go for, it'll only go for at most 4 hours. And that's just to make sure that people have time and people aren't going to be like, oh my god, I can't make that, and all that other stuff. So if you are interested, make sure that you join the Discord. Make sure that you have the tabletop role-playing role, and you look in the looking for group chat. In the Discord, it should tell you exactly what date and time it is in your time zone. So, yeah. It will be a full campaign. It will go from level 1 to 17 in the Pathfinder First Edition system. I don't know how far it would go in like D&D 5th Edition. But doing some wacky builds, maybe it'll give you guys some ideas. If you want to know a little bit about the session 0, will be for everyone to ask, players mostly to ask questions. It may not, so session 0 may not be streamed or recorded, mainly because I know a lot of you may be new to Pathfinder First Edition. If you've never played D&D 3.5, it's very similar to D&D 3.5. If you played Pathfinder 2nd Edition, it is not anything like 2nd Edition. It's probably more like Pathfinder not Pathfinder, Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition to an extent. If I knew how to make specific encounters correctly, because some of the enemies in Rise of the Rune Lords are very specific to, like, Golarion, and D&D 5th edition really just doesn't work with Pathfinder 1st edition modules just because of an issue of my skill not knowing how to change that in the encounter to best fit what it is that they're supposed to be doing. Because Pathfinder 1st edition, some of the combats kind of assume that your players are going to be buffing a lot, and the enemies are going to have access to buffs as well that aren't normally available to them. So I highly suggest going onto the Discord. Highly suggest if you are interested. It only has 6 slots, and the first 6 people to say I want in are going to get in. But it's only on the Discord. You can join the Discord by in the chats typing in !Discord, or going to the channel. The main channel page, Discord is there. I think it's also on the main channel page on both YouTube and Twitch. So you should be able to join from there. So yeah, I wanted to go ahead and get that out. I wanted to get that out yesterday, and I'm probably going to make a community post in YouTube about it. I've already made a post in Discord about it. It's in the looking for group section of the TTRPG on the Discord. So, because I want to do a little bit more than just nothing. So, I want a little bit more than just we discussed tabletop role-playing games. I want this channel to kind of be more of a mix of things that I like to do. TTRPGs are things I like to do. I like to discuss them. I like to talk about them, and I like to play them. So, and I want to get back into GMing. I'm not the best GM in the world. So hopefully you guys will bear with me. I do know that it is a very long campaign. It can take up to, for some people it took over a year. Some people it took almost 2 years, 3 years. Kind of just depends on how fast we take it. We can easily run the game. We can easily run and all that other stuff. I have the entirety of that module, and all of the maps and such and art are from Paizo. I will have to make sure that I get the artists for each thing if they are credited, because I'll need to do that. Yeah. So we'll also discuss probably some things about D&D 5th edition and all that stuff as well in the D&D 5.5. But I mostly play Pathfinder 1st edition, so we'll see. Maybe we'll actually get into other games as well. They're easy to get into, or they're easier to play, or easier to like kind of look into. We'll see. They've got like some free rules that people want to kind of see me judge and see how they want to see how I would probably run that system. We'll see. There's not really an easy way to truly get into some games because they just don't have a lot of support. Because this day and age, everyone's running on VT. Mostly everyone is running on VTT. It's very rare to see anybody. Well, not very rare. It's very. VTTs are kind of still uncommon to see, but I have seen a few of them do VTTs. It is probably more common to be on a VTT for like your normal games with everyone else because of just how remote everybody is now, as well as some other things. It is very hard to get a group of people together in the same room because you have to live pretty locally in order for that to happen. And not everybody has a local game store they can go to and do all that sort of stuff. Or they live like 45 minutes away, and it's like, I really don't want to drive 45 minutes to D&D or to the game because it's a waste of gas. Those kinds of things. So This one will likely be on a VTT, mainly because I'm a VTuber, as well as no one will really need to have their face up there or anything like that if we do stream it. All I ask is that you have a safe for work Discord picture, and I'll go through on how to set that up on session 0 if people have like we may not even have art for the characters like when we first start. I don't expect art for the characters, mainly because this is gonna be like really low budget. So we may have just some placeholder tokens or anything like that in order to get things going. Just because of limitations on my part. This would probably be something that would be like very hard to get somebody who's an artist who can get like 4 to 6 characters made in less than a week or 2 weeks or something like that. But yeah. We'll likely first, before I actually do stream it, we'll likely play a few sessions beforehand off stream, on the same day, same time, and we'll see if the group actually melds together. That's the one thing that I want to test first before we go into a full-blown campaign. Make sure the group gels well together. This is something that a lot of people tend to forget to do, is doing a session 0, everybody being on the same page, and all that other stuff. It's just one of those things that, like, I want to make sure that players are on the same page of what I expect from you guys, what they expect from me. I will always try to run a fair game. I will never try to run a game where I always try to not run a game where I'm explicitly targeting or favoriting somebody. If that does happen, people need to tell me. But these will be more in the session 0 stuff. But these are things that, like, as a GM, I try to run a fair game. Because Pathfinder First Edition has very many I wouldn't say issues, but a lot of pitfalls that you can technically fall into. It's not always the best option to do anything. Many people call them pitfalls because they many pitfalls in Pathfinder First Edition they work in only very specific campaigns where that specific spell or ability is going to come up. The main issue with this, and I'll just go ahead and mention this. The main issue with this is like the Ranger. The Ranger falls into this trap where, depending on your favorite enemy and favorite terrain, this was something that happened in 5th edition as well. And D&D in Pathfinder First Edition, the Ranger got a favorite enemy at first level, and then they got a favorite terrain later down the line. There's a chance that your favorite enemy is just not going to be useful. There's a chance that your favorite terrain just won't be useful. Those features will kind of be useless. It's the same as the Druid, where some of the Druid's abilities may not come up at all. One of them is resist nature's lure. That may never come up. So there's always that kind of thing. So there's also some other classes where their abilities may never come up. Bard's Fascination or Distraction and Countersong performances may never come up. Let's see here. Clerics channeling negative energy could come up quite often, but you really have to invest in selective channel, and then you're just pretty much being a caster at that point. There are some other things that I probably could think of. We'll probably look at through the feats, and we'll see which ones are going to be highly situational for very specific campaigns, as well as some prestige classes that really only work in very specific campaigns and don't work in all campaigns. Urban campaigns are very different from wilderness campaigns, and wilderness campaigns are very different from traditional dungeon delving campaigns. So there's always those kinds of things of like dungeon delving versus wilderness versus urban versus true adventure. Those kinds of things. I would consider probably dungeon delve to be kind of the more true, like original way you used to play Dungeons and Dragons, as you went into dungeons and you fought monsters and you got loot, those kinds of things. I know Dungeons and Dragons 4th edition and 5th edition don't really meld well with that kind of play style. Pathfinder 1st edition really gels well with that kind of play style, just because there's so much equipment for like delving into dungeons and all that other stuff. I don't think there is much of anything else that I wish to discuss about announcements. But I'll just reiterate, just in case some people are joining in, if you want to potentially play in the Rise of the Rune Lords game, you need to join the Discord and let me know if which day if you are interested in it. Don't just comment on this or anything like that. I need you to join the Discord because it's likely going to be in my Discord. And then I will have a session set up, and only the people who are interested will be able to join the VC. Just because I don't want it to get too out of hand, and then we have a bunch of people just joining in. So I will be probably making a VC that will be very specific to Rise of the Rune Lords and such. And it will be on the Discord. So. And I'll likely go back through and discuss this a little bit more, and we'll see how things go from there. But yeah. Because I know not everybody's interested in Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder or tabletop role-playing games in general. But just wanted to let you guys know. Okay. So let's go ahead and get some of these builds up and running. Give me 1 second. I think Twitch is being a meanie right now. Alright, Twitch, can you play nice for once? Please. Okay, Twitch is finally playing nice. There no mute option? Apparently not. That's weird. Would have thought there would have been a mute option on that, but apparently not. Alrighty. Let me go ahead and move some things over, and we'll go ahead and get started. Oop, I forgot to check to make sure the sources were on. Whoopsies. That's display capture. Actually, we're going to need display capture, I believe, for this. Alrighty. So. We're on Foundry again. We'll be using Foundry just because it's an easier way for me to build characters. We're actually in the character creation section, so all of your characters are still here. I think I made a random. What was this for? Oh, this was something else. We'll go ahead and put we'll go ahead and make a new folder for this. Not care. I didn't. Let me rename that. This was build. This was build your concepts. Alrighty. Let us go ahead and do that. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and get in some builds that are kind of strange, weird, or not necessarily that viable in most campaigns, but maybe viable or give you ideas of how to build characters in Pathfinder 1st Edition. Or at least give you an idea of how I build characters in Pathfinder First Edition, because sometimes I already have a build set out and I know exactly what feat I'm going to take or anything like that, even before the campaign starts. Although, do note that this is me building the character. I would highly suggest that if you're in your own game, always discuss with other players and the GM on what would actually be beneficial to build in a campaign. Because there are some things in the game that you might be like, oh, I want to be this kind of character, and you can't play that kind of character because that character concept just won't work in the campaign that you're running or anything like that. So, excuse me. So let's go ahead and look at some character concepts that I would say are pretty funny or pretty weird or strange to build. So let's go ahead and get to it. We're actually going to be using quite a lot of advanced characters and doing some advanced topics. If there is anything that you don't understand or you're wondering, where did I find this specific concept or anything like that, you'll have to just bear with me as I try to figure out some things with these. So let me think here. I think we're gonna try the unarmored defender. I think we're gonna call him that. This is a character that wants to raise their AC as high as possible without wearing armor. There are some ways to do this. At first level, you're gonna have to pick a very specific class. And many people are going to be like, oh, what do we have to play? Well, I'm going to first go ahead and set them to lawful something, because there's a specific class that can easily work with this. We are actually going... we'll be making all of these characters with a 20-point buy, just because that is the average for many campaigns. Even though there's this low, standard, high, epic, I'm like... Usually you either play in the standard or high fantasy range. You don't ever really play low fantasy. If you are playing in low fantasy, I'm sorry. Your characters are going to kind of suck at what they do. You're going to always want, if any time you're playing a low fantasy, you always want a 15 in your main stat that you're planning on using. And you might have to dump some stats to 7 and 8 just to make that work. You have to sacrifice something, but will likely always be running on high fantasy. Always assume we're running on high fantasy. These builds will always run on all my builds will run on high fantasy, just because I want to try to make them work with the average that people would probably understand. Many NPCs are standard fantasy or low fantasy, but PCs, I say, would need to be high fantasy. All PCs are high fantasy. They're meant to be more powerful than normal characters. So standard characters use standard fantasy, player characters use high fantasy, and then peasants tend to use low fantasy, just for my kind of games. And that's kind of what I've seen as what Paizo, how they run theirs. So, first of all, we're going to go ahead and... we don't really need to dump strength. We'll likely have to dump strength anyway, just because of how this will work. We can't dump any of our mental stats. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we could really do. We're going to want some amount of constitution, some amount of dexterity. This character may not necessarily be great at everything, but will at least be decent at some things. 14, 13 wisdom. Okay, this seems like a general sense of what we can do here. In my honest opinion, this character is not really going to be great at hitting things. Well, actually, I could change that. If we don't mind... I mean, we're going to have to use a finesse weapon anyway. So So probably getting a finesse weapon of some kind isn't going to be too bad. There is a reason for the 13 intelligence. The only issue with that is that I don't know how far up we're going to really be able to take our intelligence. We could dump our strength all the way down to 7. And we could get a 14 intelligence. And now there's a reason why I'm kind of debating on this is because of the one of the specific classes we're going to be taking. Depending on our intelligence score, the specific class we're going to take requires intelligence. And I think either we take a specific archetype or we take a specific prestige class. And I might go with the prestige class just to make things a little bit easier on my brain. Because I really don't want to have to deal with 2 different versions of spellcasting. Let me think here. You have to. I need to open up Archives of Nethys real quick so I can check something. Because these things don't stack. Some things do stack, some things don't. I'm just trying to figure some things out. Because I've ran this kind of like through my head quite a few times, but I've never really understood it fully, just because of how complex it is to run. Let's see here. So there's a way to get all of your mental stats to your defense. By using a very specific archetype. I gotta find it. There it is. By using 2 very specific archetypes, you can do this. And it's not necessarily the easiest thing to like think about, but it is one way of doing it. The only issue I have with it is kind of how it works because they don't stack. And one of them, I think they're both considered supernatural abilities, if I remember correctly. So they're not, well, actually one's extraordinary and one's supernatural. And one of them requires us to be a worshiper of a specific deity in order for it to work. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Okay. I'm just checking some things. So we're trying to go completely unarmored, which means I will say this build kind of this is why I say this build probably does not work in a normal game, because you have to go into 3 separate classes in order for this to work exceedingly well. And the issue is that at higher levels, this becomes better to go into, but at low levels, you're gonna suck. Badly, you are going to suck at doing what you're supposed to be able to do. And you'll see why I say that, because the very first class we're going to take, because we have no choice but to take it, is going to be Unchained Monk. And we're actually going to be taking a very specific version of Unchained Monk. Let me just get base class. which is known as the Scaled Fist. We're going to go ahead and put ranks into hit point, or favorite class bonus into hit points, just because. So that we can get some extra things. We're actually also going to go half-elf to make this a little bit easier on ourselves, because half-elf get a very specific ability that makes them a little better. And we're actually going to... I don't know where we're going to put our racial bonus. I guess we'll kind of have to just see how things go. But our AC's only 14, just because our wisdom is at least a +2 or a +1. I could technically reverse this, and then at least our AC is a 15, which isn't too bad. Actually, we could, instead of going into wisdom, we could go into charisma, which is what we're going to be doing, because we're taking the Scaled Fist Monk. The Scaled Fist Monk. Scaled Fist. The Monk Scaled Fist, this version, uses charisma instead of wisdom for all of her things, except for wisdom-based skills and will saving throws, but everything else uses wisdom. This includes your AC bonus, your stunning fist charges, all that stuff. Everything else runs off of charisma, which is we have to go in here and change just one very specific attribute, which is this attribute to charisma. And we have to change this one to charisma, too. Okay. So, there's that. We'll likely be going all the way into Monk after we take our next level. We do get 2 free bonus feats, technically. Because of AC bonus, which actually let me go in and grab Scaled Fist bonus feats. Bonus feat Scaled Fist. Because we're technically a Scaled Fist, we're not a normal monk. We can take catch off guard, combat reflexes, deflect arrows, dodge, improved grapple, scorpion style, and throw. We're gonna take dodge. Because we don't have to meet the prerequisites for dodge, but dodge is always a good thing to grab anyway. You'll notice that I have some other things that are third party. Those things are, oh, I just realized. This doesn't have the right changes for monk bonus. It's what? Bonus feat. MNK. Okay, so I just need this. I need this. Boop. There we go. Okay. So let's get the dodge bonus. Dodge. Why did it put it in the character sheet? Okay, there we go. We get dodge, which increases our AC by 1. So our AC is now 16, which is really good. For first level, our AC is actually not too bad. It could be better. There is a way for us to get a buckler on, but we're going completely unarmored. So no armor, no nothing. I think there are ways for us to get shield bonuses without requiring armor. We'll see. Let's see here. We can't take things like armor focus or anything like that. Is there any other bonuses to AC that we could get just from feats? I don't think there are. There is one specific feat I'm going to take, and it's just because it's a useful feat to take. And we're going to need it because it's combat. Is it agile combatant? No, it's not agile combatant. It's, what's it called? I gotta look this one up because I actually don't remember what it's called. It's based on CMD. It's based on your combat maneuver defense. Oh, it's defensive combat training. We're going to need that because we are going to not have a full BAB. And that would help us in our combat maneuver defense. Is there any other AC bonus, like bonuses to AC? AC. Let's see here. Let's do that so that I can actually see what the hell everything is. We could go into crane style. I think crane style just requires improved unarmed strike, dodge, and monk level 1, which is what we have, which would allow us to... You know what? We're going to take crane style. We're gonna go into crane style because it's technically the more it's the more defensive. It's one of the more defensive focused styles. So that is what we're going to do. Let me go change this to be based off of... No, it's the DC I gotta change. It's the DC I need to change, which sadly it's a frickin' fortitude save, which isn't great. Alright, so this is our first level. Our first level isn't always going to be that great, and it may not be obvious what we're going to be doing. We will be this is actually really good because then we can fight defensively throughout the entirety of the game, which will give us +3 to our AC. I think fighting defensively gives us a +3 to our AC. Let me check, because I think the buff fighting defensively is in here. Fighting defensively is in here. So we'll only take a -2 to our AC, and we'll actually get to our attack rolls, and we'll get a +3 dodge bonus, which is actually really good. And it's a common buff, so we're going to go ahead and assume that it's on at all times, just because it only lasts for a round, but. Our AC is now 18, which is actually... Well, actually, we need to change this. Change it to be -2 because of crane style. And then the dodge bonus goes up to +3. +3. Alrighty. So our AC is actually 19. Not bad for a first level character. We're getting there. Now we could actually, just, like, try to pump up our charisma as much as possible for first level. But I'm actually going to increase our dexterity. There's a reason why I want to do our dexterity over anything else, and that's just because dexterity is also going to be our to-hit method. Okay, so actually, +2. No, +2. Oh, I forgot. I actually need to. I can't take crane style just yet. I have to take weapon finesse. We have to take weapon finesse. I keep forgetting that I'm not using. We're going to do this based off of everything that we're going to be doing anyway. As well as a few other things. We're going to go ahead and get our skills out of the way. We're going to need at least some ranks in acrobatics. There's a reason for that. We can also put some ranks into escape artist. Perception is always a good one to put into if we don't have anything else to put stuff into. Sense motive can always be nice. And then honestly, the last one, you can put it in whatever you really want. Depending on your campaign will really dictate if these are like skills you really want to be putting ranks into. It's up to you. The only one that we absolutely need to put ranks into is acrobatics. And we need at least 3 ranks in acrobatics for a very specific reason. And then we will get another feat. We'll probably end up taking deflect arrows just because it's nice. Or combat reflexes. That's also up to us. Combat reflexes would also be kind of nice to do. So we need to go back to our buffs, and we need to go ahead and change our buffs again back to their original values. Okay, so AC is still 19, which is actually still good. We need weapon finesse so that we can actually hit things. We're going to be punching things, or we're going to be using a finesse weapon. I might state that the best option for us right now is just to use a finesse weapon. Just because there are some finesse weapons. We have access to all monk-based weapons, but not all monk weapons are piercing weapons. But we are proficient in all monk weapons. So let me actually go look at some of the monk weapons real quick, and we'll kind of see if there's any monk piercing weapons. Actually, there's quite a few. Are there any monk piercing weapons that have like an 18 to 19 crit? I don't think so. And it needs to be one-handed too. I think we're only going to get up to a 19 to 20 piercing weapon. Actually, let me double check the prestige class I'm going to go into. Okay, so we will need mobility at some point. And can I pick up mobility next level? Can I pick up mobility next level? I don't think mobility is until 6th level. Yeah, we can't pick up mobility until 6th level with the bonus feeds. Okay. We're actually not going to be going 2nd level into monk just yet. Let's see here. Because we've actually got a different class we're going to be putting ranks into. Okay, this one we will not be able to get into until 7th level or 8th level, which isn't going to be easy. Oh, we are going to need ranks in that specific. So in order to actually go into our prestige class, we're actually going to go ahead and get a perform skill. We're just going to do this one. You can do any perform skill, but you will need some ranks in a perform skill, apparently, to get into the prestige class we're planning on going into. It's not going to be the best thing in the world, but it'll hopefully be decent. So we got a while to build towards it. We've already got 2 of the feats we need. So there's a reason why I picked half elf. And that's because we are going to be taking a secondary class, so we don't lose the favorite class bonus. So let me go ahead and just type in half elf. Let's see here. We're going to we get languages of a half elf. We get keen senses of a half elf. Low light vision, elven immunities. Is it not in here? I would have thought it would have been in here. It's there's adaptability, which will likely give us another skill focus feat that we don't need. Let me go ahead and just delete these off of here, because the only one thing I'm not going to delete is I'm not going to delete delete that. Let's see here. Let me go to the half elf real quick. I think it's multi-talented. Yeah, it's this one. This one, which gives us which we can take 2 favorite classes. Which is gonna be nice. Okay. I think that's everything that a half-elf gets. Let me just double-check the half-elf real quick, just to make sure those are the default. That's all the default things, and I didn't accidentally give myself something that's not default. Low light adaptability. Oh, elf blood. I forgot to give elf blood. Elf blood. Nexus count as both an elf and a half elf. An elf and a human. Elven immunities, keen senses, multi-talented, and languages. Okay, so languages. Low light vision, adaptability, elf blood, elven immunities, keen senses, multi-talented. Okay. So adaptability just gives us skill focus. I'll figure out what skill we can put skill focus in probably later. We do get to pick another language. We're gonna pick Draconic just to be extra. And that's just about it for that. Let's see here. This is first level. You may not know what we're doing on first level, but first level we're trying to just maximize our AC as much as possible, which usually what you would not normally want to do is you want to make sure that this is 20, but since we can easily use charisma as well, we'll go ahead and have a 14 charisma. It's not going to be the end of the world. If we need our intelligence to be higher, we'll be able to do that. And we're proficient with anything with the monk quality. Let me just double check duelist again. Because duelist is what we're going to be going into. And I need to make sure that it's... Okay, so it has to be a piercing weapon. A light or one-handed piercing weapon. And if we wish to use flurry of blows, we need a monk piercing weapon. A monk quality piercing weapon. Let's see here. I don't think there's any, like, just single piercing, one-handed monk weapons. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think there's like I don't think any of the weapons that are monk just... Oh, there's one. There's the fighting fan. Maybe. Fighting fan might be our only option. There's the Sai. Does have the disarm quality, which could be useful. The Sangham, which is a light one. There any, no, there really isn't any one-handed ones. Although using a light weapon is honestly a better idea anyway, because we get to use our dex to attack, at least. Yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and just be proficient with the Sangham because it is a monk weapon, so we will be proficient with it. We're pretty much gonna stay here. I may be mispronouncing this weapon, by the way. It is a high possibility that I am. And the only thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go change the action to be dexterity instead of strength. The damage will still be strength, but this will probably be our only weapon that we'll end up using because I don't think we're going to get high enough to where our unarmed strikes are going to be doing enough damage. Just because... Let's see here. We're going to be maybe 9th level monk. Technically, it'll do slightly more damage. And even then, we're only going to be at a +2 AC bonus. So, and we'll have a +30 to our movement speed, which won't be too bad. But sadly, our fists aren't going to count as anything higher than cold iron. So we're probably going to just skip out on getting that average of an extra 2 damage because using a one-handed weapon is probably going to be our better option here. So we're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to do that. So, that is first level. Half-elf monk. Half-elf monk of Irori is probably our, probably just a thematic choice. Irori is the god of perfection. So, normally if we were going to do this, I probably would just stay normal monk or go right into monk and just stick to monk. Monk does have an AC problem. So we will have issues later down the line. We'll go ahead and increase our... we only get 35 gold pieces to spend on stuff, so we really don't get a whole lot of stuff. Nope, we're in the feats, not items. And we're already in a medium load. I wonder why. What is in this kit that's so freaking heavy? Oh, it's all the damn torches in here. Because we gotta stay in a light load. Not the monk's robe. Let's look at outfits. There is a monk's outfit. And this one's technically free. For the good old price of free. I don't think the monk's kit's supposed to be that heavy. But I could be wrong. Let me do this. Kit. Monk's kit. How heavy is the monk's kit? Yeah, the monk's kit's only supposed to be 22 pounds. I think the issue is that the rope in here... It's the rope and the torches that are making it exceedingly heavy. Alrighty. Alright, we'll be back. I didn't even notice the ad break. Alrighty. Sorry about missing the ad break. Let's see here. So this is pretty much first level. We have like 20 extra gold pieces we can spend on stuff. When it comes to the monk, I don't really know how great it is. There's probably some things that I could probably do that would make things a little bit easier on me, but we don't have to buy armor. And what like the last 20 gold pieces could be used for just like fluff stuff. So it's not like there's anything that we really need to do anything with. Why does it only state that I have like 1 silver piece and 1 copper piece? Why does it state that? Any reason it states that? I have no clue. I actually have no clue why it's saying that. Oh. Oh, because this is 8 gold pieces, 1 silver, and 1 copper, which its actual value is just 8 gold. So where's the 1 copper? Is it the soap? Yeah, the soap. And the 1 silver is from what? What is costing an extra silver when it shouldn't? Is it the rope? No. Oh, it's the 10 torches. Those also don't cost anything. For all intents and purposes. There we go. So I have exactly 24 gold pieces left. I was wondering why. Those are the only 2 things that I really forgot about. I think everything else could just be used as flavor. We could probably get hand wraps if we really wanted to, but I don't really know how useful hand wraps are going to be for this character. We might just end up using a weapon. Because we're not going to have unarmed strikes as our main thing. We will be using a weapon, which is actually not too bad, honestly. Using a weapon frees up our next slot anyway. So we'll actually be able to use that. So we're a scaled fist monk. We're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead. We could also technically have taken dragon style, I believe. Yeah, we could have or intimidating prowess. So technically, if we were building towards strength, we could do that, but we're not. So we're gonna go ahead and level this character up to level 2. We're going to level up the character to level 2, and we're actually going to take a different class. We are going to take War Priest. More specifically, we do get... we are going to take the manual. We're going to take the half for manual. We're going to assume that we're building this for a PFS game. So, just for simplicities. So we're now level 2. This War Priest is actually... We're actually going to lose it on a whole bunch of War Priest features. So let me go ahead and check those features that we're missing out on. So we are actually losing out on all of our armor proficiencies. We're losing out on effectively all of our proficiencies in armor. We are losing out on all of these, and we're only getting proficiency in the club. It's club, crossbow, light, a light crossbow, heavy crossbow. You get hand crossbow? No. Dagger, hand axe, javelin, comma, nunchaku, the quarterstaff, the sai, short spear, short sword, shuriken, Sing, hum, sling, and spear. And we also lose out on a bunch of other stuff too. We get acrobatics. Oh, we still get artistry. Climb, craft, diplomacy, escape artist, heal, intimidate, knowledge, history, knowledge, religion, perception. We do get lore. Lore is an automatic thing. Perception, profession, ride, sense motive, spellcraft, and swim, and that's it. So we lose out on all. I think we have the same exact skills too. So yeah. We do not gain weapon focus. Yeah, we do not gain weapon focus. We instead would have gained improved unarmed strike, which we don't get. So we just lose that. We would have normally gotten improved unarmed strike as a bonus feat, but since we already have it, we just don't get a bonus feat. And we technically get flurry of blows. Yeah, so honestly, I'm not really worried about it. We lose Sacred Weapon, right? Do we still get Sacred Weapon? No. Yes, we do. We do still get Sacred Weapon. Issue, we can't use Sacred Weapon. Oh, wait, no, we do lose Sacred Weapon. We lose Sacred Weapon. Yeah, we lose Sacred Weapon for Flurry of Blows. And that's it. We do get access to spellcasting. And the only spells we're really going to be preparing is going to be Divine Favor. Just because Divine Favor is a luck bonus on attack and damage rolls. And it's a +1, so it's a good thing. I don't think Shield of Faith is even worth taking. Early levels, it's good to take, so we'll go ahead and just take it for early level purposes, but cantrips, we don't really care. We're not really looking for cantrips. We do get a blessing of some kind, so we still get blessings, right? Just checking to make sure that we still get blessings. Okay, we do get the AC bonus for Monk, the normal AC bonus for Monk. We get the normal AC bonus of Monk, which we'll use that. So we technically get 2 AC bonuses for Monk. It's just instead War Priest instead of Monk, and our AC is 19. Again. So there we go. That is getting some of our stuff done. Let me just double check some things. We're considered a 2nd level monk for all intents and for AC bonus purposes. Let me go to monk and see if there's really any differences. It won't be until 4th level until that bonus needs to go up by 1. So I'm honestly just going to go ahead and just delete this and just go to this and... where is it? Class. Let's do classes dot monk dot. Let me check some things real quick. I have to check to see what this is called. Monk Unchained. Monk Unchained. plus... I actually needed another... It's at classes, right? At classes.monkunchain.level plus at classes.warpriest.level because they technically stack. Oh, it seems that I broke something somewhere. Not sure where, though. Oh, and we can go ahead and just state that we also add our plus at abilities.wiz.mod. Okay. And now we copy this and put it in here because they stack. Okay. There we go. Our BAB is still +1 because Warpriest is not going to give us a single +1. So we'd be losing out on a +1. But that is what our Divine Favor is for. Although there's probably a way for us to get another +1 somewhere from a different spell, but we'll see. Actually, no, there really isn't. So that's going to be pretty much it. We'll likely end up changing these spells out depending on other situations and such. There's probably a blessing we can take that might actually help us out here. So we have Irori, or we've taken Irori as our actually, what does the strength domain give us, or strength blessing give us? It will give us an enhancement bonus to its melee attack rolls, which isn't great. We only get one. We get one blessing, or 2 blessings. 2 blessings. We still get 2 blessings. Let's see what Rune does. A good. Not real. We're kind of just doing a. We're kind of just. Hey Shade, how you doing? Kind of just doing some things. By the way, did you get that payment from PayPal? Did it ever show up? Okay. Just making sure, because apparently I forgot to change my bank over to the right one. So I actually am in a deficit right now, and I'm waiting for it to go through. So it might take for me. I'm just in the negative right now, which is just because I forgot to. No, I just forgot to make sure my bank was in the right one, and so it just yanked money out of my PayPal account that I didn't have to give it to you. So I'm just in the middle of trying to fix that. Yeah, I'm okay. It's just I just forgot to put the bank account and the right information in there, so it didn't pull the right thing. So I'm just waiting for that to clear. We're building a pretty what I consider a pretty dumb build. I don't know how viable it's going to be. And it's likely going to be very not viable, so to speak. So we shall see. Okay, let's see here. So weapon finesse, dodge. We're 2nd level. We didn't get any extra bonus feats. Would have been nice, but we got no extra bonus feats. We do get access to War Priest spells, and we can cast 1st level spells. We're not going to cast anything that has a freaking I'm going to watch with Dearly. will be lurking. Alrighty. Let's see here. We're now technically level 2. I don't really care. We need to get to +6, so I'm honestly just going to give myself... you know what? I'm going to change this to disable experience tracking. Just to make this easier on myself so that I don't have to keep going back and forth. So we're going to go ahead and start leveling up again in Monk, because we need to level up in Monk. We're gonna put points into Dexterity. Reason why we're gonna put points into Dexterity. Dexterity is our to hit stat. So I'm gonna go ahead and get us to where we need to be. Okay. Now I need to go through and check some things. Let's check our AC. Our AC should now be 20. It is. There are also a few other things that we can do. We now have a key pull. We now have key strikes. We now have a whole few other things. I think we lost a key power as taking Scaled Fist. Didn't we lose a key power? We lost the key power gained at 4th level, and we gained Draconic Fury instead. So let me get Draconic Fury. Draconic Fury, because we have that now. Monk Unchained. So we did not gain the key power at 4th level. So we didn't gain this until 6th level. We do not have Still Mind. We instead have the Draconic Metal. Draconic Metal. We will not get access to Draconic Might. But we did get Purity of Body, which is nice. Okay, so we have fast movement. Our movement is now plus 20. We'll go up to plus 30, which won't be too bad. And there's a reason why we went into more levels of Monk rather than going into another level of War Priest. We could have went into one more level of War Priest, which would have given us the same situation, but I'd rather have 9 levels of Monk rather than having 9 levels of War Priest, mainly because we're just not built for it. Let's see here. I'm just double checking some things. Okay, we're now 7th level. Let me just go ahead and make sure that I pick up some key styles, because that's, or some key strikes, because that's what we get. Or not key strikes. We get 1 key power. Did we get like style strikes or something like that? Or am I misremembering Monk Unchained? Don't we get style strikes? Yeah, 5th level we got a style strike. Yeah, there it is. Style strikes. So let me see if there's any style strikes that actually give us an increase in an AC. I think it's flying kick? Isn't it like crane kick or something like that? Spin kick. Nope. Isn't there one of these that increases our AC, or am I misremembering? Oh, there it is. Defensive spin. So we'll take that. We'll take defensive spin. Defensive spin. Unchained Monk. Reason is that this Monk spin, it gives us a +4 to our dodge bonus because any attacks made by the target of the style strike until the start of his next turn. This bonus does not stack with itself. The Monk must attack with his fist to use this style strike, so we will have to use our we cannot just use a weapon for that one, but it won't really matter. We will get another one. Or one style strike. Whenever he makes a flurry of blows, he can designate one of his unarmed strikes as a style strike. This attack is resolved as normal, but as an additional effect. Yeah. So we do need to do a flurry of blows in order for that to actually work. Which we can easily do. The only issue with it is that usually you would flurry of blows with just your fists. We need to actually use a weapon of some kind. Although I think we can technically get rid of the weapon for another thing. But we need to go ahead and get our feats of choice. We're going to go ahead and get mobility. 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 We're going to get mobility. We're going to get... mobility is going to be our monk bonus feat. So we're going to go ahead and grab a weapon focus. Actually, yeah, we're going to grab weapon hang on. What's that one feat called? It's a feat. Requires weapon focus, I believe. Let me check. Weapon versus deal different types of damage with your favored weapon. When wielding a weapon with which you have weapon focus, you can shift your grip as a swift action. You may switch back to the weapon's normal damage type or another damage type as a swift action. I don't know if weapon versatility technically works on unarmed strikes, because you're not technically wielding unarmed strikes. Although technically a monk's weapon counts as martial a monk's unarmed strike counts as weapons for the purposes of things that apply to it. So we could probably take weapon versatility. Oh, there also is it's a style feat, I think. Is it Mantis style? One of these styles allows you to deal piercing damage. Let's see here. I'm trying to check which style it is, but we can't combine styles. So we either pick one style or the other, and if we're going for a defensive build, we might just pick that. Let me check. It's weapon versatility. Let me check the Unchained Monk real quick and see if there's anything special about their unarmed strike. Elbows need the means with his hand full. Monk's unarmed strike trade is both manufactured weapon and a natural for the purpose of spells and effects that enhance or improve either manufactured weapons or natural weapons. Okay, so we can take weapon focus. Weapon versatility. And now our fists do piercing damage. So we can actually use the duelist's abilities in order to... We don't have to wield a weapon anymore. Okay. That makes this slightly easier. We're only going to deal D10 of damage, but hey, at least we're dealing damage. It's not going to be like the crazy 2D, 3D8 or 2D8 or whatever it is at 20th level, 2D10 like it is in other things, but hey, that's all we really need. And then we can go ahead and pick up Crane Style, and then it's what? Crane Wing? Crane Riposte. Requires a Bab of 8 or a Monk of +7. And it requires Crane Wing. Crane Wing was the next one. Crane Wing. Which just requires a base attack bonus of +5. So Crane Wing. Alrighty. So we're going into Duelist now, which isn't great. I'm not gonna lie. Going into Duelist now isn't the best option. It's probably best to just go full 7 levels of Monk and then get into Duelist. And then pick up the other class later. I don't really know. Okay, so we do still need to go ahead and we'll just go ahead and put 7 into there, 7 into there. We are level 7, right? Yeah, we're level 7. 7 into intimidate. We need at least 2 ranks into a perform. 7. And we have 3 more. We'll just go ahead and put 5 into that because we lost some ranks. All right, so we officially have everything we need, I believe. Let me just double check to make sure that we have everything to go into our prestige class that we wish to go into, because prestige classes have prerequisites. Okay, so we just need weapon finesse, dodge, and mobility as our feats. We got all 3 of those. We need acrobatics as 2 ranks. We have that. Perform of 2 ranks. We have that. And a base attack bonus of +6, which we now qualify for. So now all we need to do is our AC is 21. I'm going to go ahead and just give some specific magic items, which are just going to be helpful for this. So we're just going to get the headband of mental perfection, or mental superiority +6. We're going to go ahead and just get the belt of physical prowess +6. We're going to go ahead and just get, there's one specific item, bracers of armor. If I could spell, +8. We're going to take the amulet of natural armor +5. Do note you're not going to have all of these in here. Of protection +5, and that's pretty much it. Do note that I don't think I've went over the level 20 budget, but we have gone over our normal budget. And we could technically not take the amulet of natural armor, and we could instead take the ability to use our unarmed strikes as anything else, but we have another way of overcoming that. We may have no choice but to go ahead and just punch people. We can easily punch people, but I'm going to state that our flurry of blows will only be used so often. It really won't be used that often. And we're only going to get really 1 extra attack out of this. We're really not going to get 2 extra attacks out of this. So we're only going to get 1 extra attack. We could use a key point to get another attack out of it, which is fine. Our fists will only really become cold iron and silver the first overcoming damage reduction, which isn't great because we really want to be... This is why we really want to be 16th levels, because adamantine weapons for the person overcoming damage reduction and bypassing hardness, which is the one thing that we really would like, but we won't be able to do it. Just because we had to multi-class. If we didn't have to multi-class, we wouldn't worry about it. But even if we are considered a 10th level monk for the purposes of our unarmed strikes, we didn't get a key pool for the other class. So there's really no point in doing this. So we'll now notice that our AC is 48, which is actually quite high. It can get still a little bit higher. Because now we're going to go ahead and go into the duelist class. Duelist, which is a prestige class. Duelist. We'll still be increasing our dex because that is how we're going to do it. I keep rolling. We need to not roll. I keep forgetting. Yeah, I keep forgetting to click the option to not roll because rolling is not how we're supposed to be doing this. So I need to give myself, 4 more hit points there. Well, 3 more hit points, I think, is... Well, actually, let me do the math here. We're at, actually, I can do this automatically. I keep forgetting that I can actually set this up automatically. So configure health. Auto. Save. So it should have changed my health to be the exact it's supposed to be. Yes. And since Duelist, I don't have a favorite class. I don't have favorite class bonus in Duelist because I don't have a... Duelist is not a favorite class yet. We will be making it a favorite class so we can continue to get more hit points. Okay. So we just got all the Duelist abilities, which is Canny Defense, which effectively means that we can add another dodge bonus to our AC, which means our AC is 49. Now, we could technically go full in on Duelist. We could go all the way into Duelist and call it a day. Let me just check some things real quick. So, let me just check some things. Wait, why did my skill ranks just go, like, stupidly high? What in the world? Oh, right. Because technically we get a bunch of skill ranks for just the headband. Right. Okay. So Canny Defense, what is our intelligence score? We could just go up to 4th level. Which is not bad. We literally could just go all the way up to 4th level and then we'll be done. We don't need to go any more levels into Duelist except for up to 4. We only need to go up to 4 levels into Duelist to effectively max out our Duelist. Which required out of Duelist. So let me check our features. We can actually take the feat Favored Prestige class. Favored Prestige class. Which effectively gives us a plus. We can now get favored class bonuses for our Prestige class. And then we'd randomly pick one of the other things. But we only need to go up to 4th level for this. So... And then we're done. We're effectively done. We could go further. I don't think there's anything else in here that really... we could really use. Well, we could actually go full into at least in a 9th level of Duelist, up to 9th level. But that's up to... Technically, we could just go full in on Duelist. There isn't, like, anything that states we have to go more levels into Monk. I mean, our AC is only 49. I think we could probably get it a little bit higher. Let me check some things real quick. There's probably ways to get it even higher. Like, there's enhanced mobility. We get an additional +4 bonus to attack AC against attack of opportunity caused when she moves out of threatened squares. We do get +2 competence bonus on our reflex saving throws, which is actually really good. We get combat reflexes for free, so that's nice. We'll go ahead and get Crane Riposte now. Yeah, we'll go ahead and take Crane Riposte because now we can actually use that without issue. We're just gonna go ahead and just go 10 levels into Duelist. Mainly because so that we can actually get a few of the other things that are in Duelist. And the only reason why I say I don't know how well this class will actually work is because it effectively requires you to do something. Oh, wait, nope, that's it. That's all we can do. It effectively requires you to do something that you may not be prepared to do. And I mean, you do get a 51 AC out of this, which isn't nothing to sneeze at. And you can actually buff it to be even higher because we do get another style strike. I don't know what you would do with the other style strike. We took the one we really wanted. We get improved evasion, which is nice. We get crippling critical, no retreat, deflect arrows. We can deflect arrows without a free hand. We get precise strike. We get to add our duelist level to our damage rolls, which is nice. We get a +4 bonus to initiative. And we can actually make our initiative even higher if we really wanted to. We could take the improved initiative feat, which actually gives us a pretty high initiative bonus too. Like, we have a pretty high initiative. Our will save isn't too great. Our fortitude save is actually much better. Especially with a +2 competence bonus to it. Enemies getting the duelist that withdraw or don't action provoking opportunity for the duelist. Like, we're in a very weird, I would say a very weird kind of situation where I don't know how this build would technically function in an actual game. That's just the issue that I have with it, is that I don't know how well this build would function in a normal game. It could either be really good or really bad. I do not know. We'll say we get Arcana, Local, and Religion. Nope, that would be 18. Okay. So, I mean, not too bad. I mean, depending on how you build this character, like, you could also, instead of going in the charisma, you could go into intelligence to get more intelligence and maybe change up your classes if you wanted to. I just don't see it. I don't see how well it's really useful. We do get a parry. Is it an immediate action? Yeah, it's an immediate action. It's not nearly as good as the opportune parry and riposte, but it's still a parry. We could take nimble. So what? Nimble moves, which allows us to take a 5-foot step in difficult terrain without issue. We could take that. We have the dex for it. We also have a very fast movement speed. And these are also the only things that really would increase our AC. There's really nothing else we could take that would increase our AC any further. Not without, like, having to wear armor, and we can't wear armor. We can't wear we can't wield a shield anyway, without taking, like, some strange ways of doing things. And then we get simple and martial armor. But it let's see here. Yeah, so... And that's also while fighting defensively, and we can now... Let me go ahead and increase these buffs correctly. So we only take a -1 penalty for fighting defensively, which isn't too bad. We get a plus We get a +3 from Crane Style. What about Crane Wing? What does Crane Wing do for us? Does Crane Wing increase this? When fighting defensively with at least one free hand, you get a +4 dodge bonus on attack rolls against melee attacks. So actually, we automatically get a +4 dodge bonus as long as we have a free hand. When fighting defensively. So we get an additional +4 to that. So that's at +7. Okay. And then we get to add +1 for every 3. She gains an additional +1 dodge bonus to AC for every 3 levels of duelist she has attained. So we get to add classes.duelist.level divide by 3 and floor it. So I wish I actually could get an actual number out of this, but I think I don't have a module installed that would help me there. So technically we get a 59 AC, and I'm like, you don't really need an AC that high. I'm gonna be honest, our AC does not need to be that high. So it being that high is just not required. But this is supposed to be a stupid build, and it is. It's a very stupid build. I don't know how well this would work. I really just don't. I don't think it will work that well. There are some things that, like, we could take, could take Piranha Strike, which just gives us power attack, the option to do power attacking without issue. We can now power attack. I'm trying to really think of, like, anything else that, like, would help us out, but I don't really think there is any other feats that really help us. We get combat reflexes for free. Is there anything that required nimble moves? There's acrobatic step. I guess we'll take acrobatic step. Acrobatic steps. Done. And we're done. This build is done. We get combat reflex. We got a few things for free. I don't know how well this really was gonna work. I have no idea how much this is gonna work. We do get an additional style strike. Our key pull is at +8. We are at 7th. We are technically a 7th level. We're a 9th level. So our unarmed strikes do count as cold iron and silver for the purpose of overcoming damage reduction. It's not great, but I think there are ways for us to overcome damage reduction if we need to. In order to get the defensive spin, we do need to, which means our AC could go up to freaking 63. If we absolutely need it to be. I'm going to go ahead and let you know, unless you're, so let me go to the rules, bestiary, monster creation. You only need an 8, so effectively, if your GM is not, so if your GM is using the normal rules of creating monsters, your GM, you only really need a +50 in your AC, because anything higher than 50 in your AC by 20th level is not really going to help you, because you're going to get hit anyway at that point because they rolled a natural 20. Natural 20s are automatic hits. Now, it could help you with a critical confirm, but if your AC is already 20, then they still have to roll another natural 20 in order to hit you with a critical confirm. So it's not like we're really gonna have an issue. As well, that's not including like any of the other base things that and such, like your monster could have a 30 BAB. It could be very different. Like there are other things that could like come into play, but CR 25 is probably the strongest that you're gonna get. And even with this, I'm gonna just go to the Tarask, because the Tarask is probably the creature that everyone's thinking about. In Pathfinder First Edition, it's a CR 25 creature. And I don't see the Tarask again, because I have to always freaking search for it, even though it should just be in the monsters section, and it's not. So, the Tarask doesn't even have a plus 40 to hit. So, there's really no point in, like, I guess I can do this. I guess I can look at some of these. This is why I say this build is kind of funny and kind of stupid. Let me look at some of the strongest CR monsters and see if, like, okay, let's look at the Archdevil Beelzebub. Archdevil Beelzebub, if you're fighting him, one, you're in trouble. Two, does he even have an attack section? He does. So, if you're fighting Beelzebub, which is the CR30 Archdevil, he has a plus 53 to hit. So, even an AC of 59 is not going to help you. But that's also a CR30 monster. You need very specialized equipment to go after monsters that are 10 levels higher than your intended level. Let me look at some of the dragons. Because honestly, dragons are probably going to be the easiest one for me to kind of judge here. So let's look at some of the dragons. Okay, so let's look at the Balor Demon. Balor Demon's a good option. It's a CR20 monster. It also only has a plus 31 to hit. So, like, yes, it's great that you've got an AC of 59. You don't need an AC that high to be viable. You only really need an AC of maybe 51 if you really want to guarantee that they have to roll a natural 20 to hit. But here's the issue. So a Balor has two weapons that have the Vorpal quality. So I'm going to go ahead and state this. You probably don't want to have a natural 20 happen if you're fighting a Balor. Just because a natural 20 automatically means your head gets cut off because they have a Vorpal weapon. If anyone doesn't know, Vorpal weapons, if you roll a natural 20 on the die, you just automatically cut the person's head off. So, I honestly would state, no, I don't think that you really should have an AC that high anyway. Because weapons like the Vorpal sword, a Vorpal weapon and all that are great and all, but it's the thing of when you roll that natural 20 and your head gets cut off, it didn't matter how high your AC was, you're going to die due to the Vorpal happening anyway. So like making your AC stupidly high to the point where the GM can't even hit you with normal monsters is sometimes a bad idea. Now, it's great that you can't get hit, but because the GM is it comes down to a problem of, because the GM is trying to challenge you and trying to make sure monsters can still hit you, you run into the problem that they make the monsters tailored towards you rather than the rest of your party, who have probably average ACs for their level, where a normal monster only has a 50% chance of hitting them. By the way, this is also assuming that they get that +1, that first attack actually hits, with the fourth attack likely missing. And the third attack likely missing. So, like, I don't know. It feels really awkward and really weird when somebody decides to say, oh, I'm going to do insert thing here. I'm going to be really good at a defensive option. I'm like, cool. There's probably a little bit of an issue with doing that. And it just comes down to, like, this is also like a semi-power build. And in my honest opinion, I don't even think it's really good at melee either. How much damage does this thing do on a melee strike? Let's say that it's using this Sangham, and let's just assume that it's a +5 weapon. Just for all intents and purposes, just to make this easier. We're hitting at... We have a 31, 26, 21, 16. Which means we're hitting relatively everything. And we're doing a D6 +8. And it's overcoming all damage reduction minus a few kinds of damage reductions. So we're really not worrying about anything like that. The only thing that we got to worry about is like DR Epic or DR 1/3 or DR nothing in order to really worry about having nothing bypass. So I don't know. It's a weird... We've run into a weird situation where we're still going to be able to hit any monster averagely, but monsters aren't going to be able to hit us averagely. And even if we lose the +4, we're still like at a 55. So like, and that's assuming we're in Crane style too. If we're not in Crane style, then it's only a +4 or +3 or +6, I think. Or no, it's a... What's the bonus? It's a swift action to go. It's a swift action to go into a stop. Yeah, it's dumb. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's stupid. And in my honest opinion, it's pretty funny when your GM gets frustrated and all that. But then I would call it not really a challenge, because if you're... So this becomes an issue of, if you're the only person who has the stupidly high AC, then you run into a problem of GMs trying to challenge you, and everyone else has built kind of average characters, which is to say, like, their ACs are probably not nearly as high. They didn't focus on, like, getting an additional AC in other locations. Maybe they have an amulet, or maybe they have a ring. Maybe they have a +5 armor. Maybe they have a decent dexterity to keep them going. But, like, it's always the issue of when you build for a character that's really good at something, you do run into a problem where if the GM challenges you and then you somehow die, because you just got hit, or you just get killed by a Vorpal weapon, because natural 20s are automatic hits. Is a Vorpal weapon, you lost your head. That's also a GM that's not really being nice either. That's a GM that's kind of fed up with your character and just wanted to try to kill your character some way. The issue is that now, if everyone else has, like, maybe if they only have, like, a 32 or something, like, and we're going up against this Balor, and the Balor has 2 Vorpal weapons, which means At any point, they also get 7 attacks, which they could roll a natural 20 on and just immediately cut your head off. So, like, this is an issue, a very big issue with like high-level monsters, is that the more attacks that a monster gets, the more likely it is to just probably use that one ability that's going to just kill you. And it's the thing of rolling 7 attacks, and if it's somehow hasted, it gets 8 attacks. It just loses a whole bunch of stuff. You're using me as an example real quick? What do you mean by that? Self-care? Alrighty. That I can do. Oh. Join stream as a guest? What are you trying to do, insert? What are you asking for me to do? Hold on. I'm trying to figure out if I can actually figure out how to do this from here. Where is it? Where is the... Is it this one? No, that's not it. Give me a moment. I saw the thing and then it went away. Hang on. I'm trying to see if complete. Confirm. 3-minute ad break. Want it real quick? Okay, give me 1 moment. Well, actually, I can do it. Hang on. Ad break just happened, so just give me 1 second. Let me. Where's my head? There are my headphones. Oh, I forgot to turn this off again. God damn it. Give me 1 moment. Okay. Alrighty. Oh. Well, thank you for the $1. Alrighty. Okay, we're back. Ignore the thing in the background. Okay. Well, insert, thank you for the 100 bits. Thank you for slapping me for $1 on April Fool's Day. Let's see here. But yeah. Yay, the ad break's done. But yeah, this is just something that, like, in Pathfinder First Edition, if your GM is just using monsters in the monster manual, there's likely not a reason for your AC to be this high at 20th level. I'm just gonna let you know. Yes, it's high. It's way higher than average. Your average AC maybe needs to be like maybe 48. So it's 11 points higher, which means you can technically take on some of the CR, like some monsters that are much higher CR, but many of them are just going to have abilities that just outright kill you anyway. Or if your GM's running them right, they should be able to wipe the floor of anything that's 10 levels lower than them, unless they have gear that's specifically specialized in ignoring 90% of the things that they can do. I would probably say that you could forego the wisdom bonus and the intelligence bonus if you really wanted to, or the charisma bonus. It's up to you. But yeah, I mean, your skills are relatively average. They're not like overly high for your level. I mean, you can easily get them even higher. There's a ways to do that. There are magic items that do that. And also, if you want to like combat some of this stuff from happening, I don't really know how you would do it. It's there are ways to do it, and there are ways to change how people's characters can kind of go higher. You could technically put a hard cap on how much AC really somebody could have, because there's really no reason for your AC to go this high. And I'm gonna be honest, GMs, if you're making monsters that can hit AC, like if you have and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna show this. If you have one PC that has an AC so high that you can't hit them, let them be that character and just target everyone else. Don't target them. You don't have to target them. If everyone else has relatively average AC, but they have the high AC, and your monsters are intelligent, like, I'm not hitting this guy that often. How about I go over and clap the wizard real quick? You know, those kinds of things. Like, you don't have to do anything like that. And I know in Pathfinder First Edition, not Pathfinder, in Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, you can get an AC this high, but it requires a lot more thought in order to do it, I would say. As well, it requires a lot of convoluted, like, GM giving you access to, like, a lot of magic items that do this, as well as a lot of spell buffs that have to go up in order for this to work, too. I'm just trying to think real quick if there's really anything else that, like, I could think of that would be really beneficial for your character to do. Because there's really not any reason for your AC to be this high. And honestly, there's really no reason for your AC to be freaking in the 40s anyway. In the 50s anyway. Having a 40-something AC is probably the highest you're ever going to really need it. Because, one, this is also assuming that we go all the way up to 20th level. If we didn't go to 20th level and we went to, like, 18th level, we'd be a 7th level monk, which I don't think really changes much of anything. I don't think it changes our AC at all. Not really. It does get rid of 2 of our feats. So or 1 of our feats, so we wouldn't have, like, Piranha Strike, probably. Mini campaigns don't actually go up to this high. Go to 20th level. Only 2 Paizo published campaigns go to 20th level. This is honestly as far up as I would say is probably the stupidest build I could think of. It still hits pretty hard. It still hits pretty averagely. It doesn't hit nearly as hard as some people would probably think. And our AC is honestly only 59, and that's only because we have access to, like, 5 specific items that have given us that much AC. And that's not including like haste or anything like that. And in my honest, and this is when I'll just say it, you don't need an AC this high. You just don't. Um, you could get away with probably having 5 less AC, which means we could probably wear the amulet of mighty fists instead, which is fine. We don't have to really do anything like that, and like I don't see how using our amulet of mighty fists, how having a 59 AC is going to really be that fun for some people. Now, yes, not everybody likes getting hit, but there are ways to circumvent getting hit with low AC anyway. I don't even know if the Baylor has this specific ability that I'm thinking about. It probably does. Let me see here. Does it? Yeah, it does. So it can circumvent some of the magical ways of getting, like, concealment, but what is true seeing counter? What is true seeing counter? I don't remember what true seeing counters, because a lot of outsiders at later levels just have access to true seeing, and I'm trying to remember what true seeing counters. In normal and magical darkness, notices secret doors hidden by magic, sees the exact locations of creatures or objects under blur displacement, sees invisible creatures or objects normally, sees through illusions, and sees the true form of polymorph, changed, or transmuted things. Further, the subject can focus its vision to the ethereal plane, but not into extra-dimensional spaces. The range of true seeing conferred is 120 feet. Does not penetrate solid objects. It is not no way confers X-ray vision or its equivalent. It does not negate any concealment, including those caused by fog and the like. True seeing does not help the viewers see through mundane disguises, spot creatures who are simply hiding, or notice secret doors hidden by mundane means. In addition, the spell's effects cannot be further enhanced without knowing with known magic, so one cannot use true seeing through a crystal ball or in conjunction with clairvoyance. And there's glimpse of truth, which just gives you 1 round of true seeing. Sees these alien creatures. Okay, so there is one spell that could technically help you via magical means, and it's a very funny spell. It's a wizard only spell, I believe. And it's quite a low level spell. Yeah, so Blink is one of those feats that's like, or one of those spells that's like really good. The only issue with it is let me see here. Okay. So that could technically help you, but True Seeing kind of lets you see through the ethereal plane. So there's not really any spells that really will help you gain a concealment chance besides things like fog. And you would need something like True Sight, or not True Sight, Blind Sight, in order to actually see into the fog. So magically created fog actually becomes very, very useful at later levels if you can easily get your players to have some form of like blind sight or blind sense so they can actually see the target. Of course, still invoking the 20% miss chance, but better than nothing. And there are ways to do that. There are strategies out there that could actually help. This is my stupid build for today. Let's see. How long have I been live? Been live for a few hours, right? Yeah, I've been live for a few hours. Let's see here. So, yeah. And this is, of course, like high level. This isn't something that you can easily do at low levels. And the thing is that if we took away all of these magic items, our AC would not be nearly as high. Probably would be closer to something like a... Actually, I don't need to delete them, but we're going to delete them anyway, because... So if we got rid of all of our magic items, like... Our AC is still only 32, which is kind of bad. It's really bad. So we need at least some amount of magic items to increase our AC. And that honestly is kind of fine. Getting the +6 to or +4 to our AC from intelligence isn't too bad either. There are other ways to increase our intelligence if our GM's ever nice and gives you like books that increase your your scores, which can happen. You can get books that do that. But those kinds of magic items are exceedingly rare, and unless your GM is going to be really nice and give them to you, I would never count on magic items that give you bonuses to your ability scores for free, because they are not considered free for all intents and purposes. Especially if your GM is doing like a low or a medium or standard fantasy, where those books are likely you will probably only find it like a +1 or +2 version of that book. You probably will never find a +5 version of that book, unless you have a character that can specifically craft items or things like that. So there is that option. So there is that. There are books and such that can give you a much higher bonus to AC. Not AC, but to your ability scores, which can technically increase your AC if you get the Dex one. Dex is really the only thing that increases your AC. If you're a monk, it's wisdom. If you're a scaled fist, it's charisma. If you're a duelist, it's intelligence. And all of that really just requires the hope and pray that your GM is not going to be mean and allows you to have a pretty high bonus to your initiative and such. So, yeah. Yep. Which one is it? Is that enhanced mobility? Which one gives you... Is it improved reaction? Yeah. So improved reaction increases stuff. But it... Yeah. I'm not going to, like, kind of see how things go. And all that. I mean, I could throw some random monsters and, like, I could look at their stats and be like, well, that thing's not going to hit. That thing's not going to hit. That thing's not going to hit. And this is my stupid build. Technically, we didn't even need to go half-elf. We could have gone any other race that gave us a bonus to... Technically, we could have gone elf. Could have gone normal elf. Any race that gave us a +2 to one of our mental stats would have been fine, and a +2 to dexterity would have been fine. But... I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, I do not really care about how high my AC can get, when the only real thing that you would need for your AC to get stupidly high is just hope and pray your GM gives you magic items that help you with AC. Or, like, some magic items that increases your AC kind of by default. Like, if your GM gives you a magic item and it has a dodge bonus to it, the GM better put it on a slot and that can't be duplicated. Which mainly just means don't make a ring of dodge or something like that. Or if you're going to give one of those magic items, it's got to be a very low, it's got to be a very low increase. It only goes up to like maybe +2 at most. But yeah. There are a lot of things. There's also probably some spells in here that could have probably increased our AC. There's haste, but haste is really something that only your wizard is probably going to give you. I went with the monk over the war priest only because you need getting more HP is nice. Getting more HP is always nice rather than getting less HP. Getting more HP is always nice, and all that stuff. So it's always an issue of like remembering everything that happens between all of this stuff. So yeah. And again, like, this is a stupid build. This build doesn't really work. I don't think this build really works in any normal game, just because you have to go into War Priest at some point, and at that point, you're either when you go into it, you're either getting a +1 or a +4 to your AC, and at that point, I would say it's probably not worth it to do that. And even then, I probably would say even going into Duelist is cutting it close, because you could just instead play a normal monk and not have to worry about a whole bunch of that random crap. So yeah. Yeah. I would probably say that a bunch of stuff is probably not required for this, and you could probably change the way that you build this and all that. I probably would say you could probably forego the War Priest level, especially if you don't feel like you really want a high enough wisdom score, or if you just want to play normal monk and you can just dump your charisma. There's no shame in doing that too. If you didn't want to use your charisma, you could dump wisdom. You could dump charisma, get some points into wisdom, and then you're good. But there's really no point having a 59 AC. It's just not worth it. In my honest opinion, it's never worth it. It's never a worthwhile thing to do it this way. Hyper focusing on one very specific thing that, like, doesn't make it fun for the GM. Like, if the monster is all about hitting, it's more than mindless, it's going to probably stop targeting you, just because, one, it can't hit you, two, it might have a nasty ability that just automatically lets it crit, and meaning it just lops off your head. Because let me actually get let me actually go to magic items and go to weapons, melee, scroll all the way down, Vorpal. And I'll go ahead and pull this over. So, the potent and feared ability allows the weapon to sever the heads of those it strikes. Upon a roll of a natural 20, followed by a successful roll to confirm the critical hit, the weapon... Well, okay. I was wrong. So you do have to confirm on a natural 20 to make it a critical hit, so that doesn't make this nearly as bad. But if the GMs are like, this is a Vorpal weapon, and they have the ability to just automatically crit, which means that if your fighter gets dominated and they're a level 20 fighter and they're using a Vorpal version of their weapon and they just hit you, they roll a natural 20 on any of their attacks, they automatically confirm their critical hit with their special weapon, you're dead. So yeah. I'm just saying. There are some things that I would say that are kind of like, there are counters to this build. It's a very stupid build, but there's still counters to it. And that's also requiring, like, it requires the 6 specific magic items too, which are all like high-level magic items, like a Ring of Protection, an Amulet of Natural Armor, Amulet of Natural Armor +5, a Headband of Mental Superiority +6, a Belt of Mighty... Not Mighty, it's a Belt of Physical... Now, technically, you could forego the Mystical Perfection, and you could go for a Dexterity and Con one, +6, the Physical Might, Dexterity, and Con, if you really wanted to. Oh, and it requires the Bracers of Natural Armor. Bracers of Natural Armor. If I could type Bracers for once. I don't know why I can... Bracers of Armor. Armor. +8, which all of these are kind of expensive. Like, they're not necessarily cheap magic items, and like it also requires you to be fighting defensively. If you're not fighting defensively, your AC's 48. So, like, your AC's 48 before fighting defensively, and even then, it's not really worth it, in my honest opinion, because, like, the only difference is if you're fighting defensively is you're losing a +1 to your hit. If you've taken the feats that I have, which is the entirety of the Crane style. So, like, I don't know. And even then, like, there might be some magic items or magic that we can use to help us and the Cleric on the War Priest spell list. There's a Enhanced Weapon. There's Celestial Healing, which is kind of great. Well, it's not really that great. There's probably some feats in here that would, or some spells in here that would really be beneficial to us. But our concentration's really bad. And we likely will just end up using these to just, like, buff ourselves. Like, we could cast Sun Metal. Allowing our weapons to deal more. Weapon wand. And I mean, we can also use up to 6th level cleric spell, like up to 6th level cleric spells from, or up to 4th level cleric spells from wands. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, I don't see the purpose of like making your AC this high. This high. I just don't find it kind of that wonderful. You could easily take out, like, probably the Bracers of Armor, and then you would still be fine, or the Amulet of Natural Armor, and you would still be fine if you're fighting defensively. Like, there isn't really anything else that changes, because you can also move in. You also get a +8 to your AC when you're moving in. So, like, because of enhanced mobility. So even when you're not fighting defensively automatically, you're already at a 56 AC when you're moving get into position against an enemy. So there's still not, like, any way to overcome stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm not gonna... Excuse me. I'm not gonna, like, continue beating around the bush or anything like that, but that's probably as much as I would go into this. And you're only taking a 1-level dip into War Priest, and I'm like, well, that's not too bad. I would probably get rid of War Priest and just go full into Monk at that point. Because you're really not benefiting in it. You're only really benefiting from 6 AC. Or 5 AC. 4 AC. And I'm like, you could probably forego the +4 and just go 4 more and go 10-10 and Monk Duelist and call it a day. So, or Unchained Monk Duelist and call it a day. Because it's not really that bad. And I mean, you could also go Scaled Fist normal Monk if you wanted to. I probably wouldn't do it. And then if you really want it, if you could have just went normal Monk and all that, and then you could bump up your Wisdom to even higher. You could bump up your intelligence to be a little bit higher and probably get some more benefit out of those. But yeah, there's really no point in going into anything further than this. And the only reason why I say this is just because, like, I don't see any reason to do it. And I mean, you could have technically went, like, Sword Saint Magus, and I'm like, if you're going to do that, just go, like, you're going to just dip one level into Monk at that point just to get the Wisdom bonus or the Charisma bonus, and I'm like, cool. You're still running into the problem of... And technically, you would have then been able to take Duelist a level early, too. So, going Unchained Monk, you could have taken Duelist at 7th level, rather than having to wait until 8th level to take it. So, I would say that Duelist is probably better as with the Unchained Monk, or with a different class. Monk is probably not the best class to do it with. And also, if you Flurry of Blows and you use your one of your unarmed strikes, you get access to an additional attack, which allows you to do the defensive spin, which gives you more options. Like, you get options with some of these style strikes, and then it's like another +4 to your AC against that target. And I'm like, yeah, you're really good at being dodged. Issue, you still need to be able to get hit so that you're not getting ignored by intelligent monsters. Any monster that has at least a 7 or 8 intelligence, after a while, is just going to give up against you and go against something else. They're just going to ignore you because, like, or you're just going to get hit by something else that's not targeting AC. Usually by high levels, the thing is AC is not the thing that you really need to worry about. It's your saves. And even then, I've even forgotten one specific magic item that many adventurers take, and it's the Cloak of Resistance. +5. So our saves aren't that bad. Our saves could be better. Our will save is probably going to be our weakest save, and it's going to probably always be our weakest save. For most marshals, will is your weakest save. There are only like a very few amount of marshals, or what I would consider marshals, that have weak will save or good will saves. Clerics and druids can be pretty good marshals, and they have pretty good will saves, so they're kind of like the rare exception. War Priest is also a rare exception, I believe. I think they have bad... A Paladin is also a rare exception. Although Paladin tends to have better saves overall, and have the best fortitude and will saves. Rogue and Swashbuckler tend to have the best reflex saves. So, yeah. And this is just like an issue with any class. Like, you're going to have a weak save. Most of your classes are going to have a weaker save. So, failing the saving throw is going to happen. And that's why there are things like, if you want to not get dominated, make sure you have a protection spell up. Because in my honest opinion, if your group is running, depending on what you're going up against, if you know you're going to be going up against a vampire, I hope and pray that everyone remember that they need a protection from alignment spell in order to keep themselves from being dominated, so that the barbarian or monk or fighter or rogue or anything like that will just outright kill them. But that's just like knowing what enemies can do and all that. So, and it's also a 17th level character. This character probably could have been would have been finished a lot earlier. Technically, this character can be done at 17th level, I want to say. Yeah, we could technically go back one more level if we wanted to. Let's go back one more level. Let's make this level 6. Yeah, 6 level. This is the done build. This is effectively the done build. So by 17th level, you can have a 47 AC with a pretty high fighting defensively bonus. Which, if you have a really high fighting defensively bonus, I'm going to go ahead and say this, you really don't need to have a really high if you have a really high fighting defensively bonus, you can probably forgo some of the extra magic items that give you a bonus to your AC. Especially if your GM is only using, like, let me check a monster that's in Rise of the Rune Lords, and I'll just let me look at like the most powerful monster in Rise of the Rune Lords and see if there's any way that he could potentially hit any of those ACs without like rolling a natural 20. I think he's got the option to, but I could be wrong. Let me just, alrighty. What's his to hit? Well, he's not really hitting that often. Anyway. So, let's see here. Does he have any touch spell? Well, he's not really hitting you with touch spells, it would seem. Well, he's got 2 of them. What's this guy's cheats? Plus 10 to his hit. Yeah, no, so he's hitting you with plus 22, it would seem. He could hit your touch AC quite easily, but yeah. Then he's generally going to be hitting your touch AC anyway, so that's always up in the air. I'm not going to say that it's really that beneficial to do something like that, because it's really not. You also have a 50-foot land speed, which means you're moving generally faster than most of your comrades, even without haste. So there's a high chance that you might just get surrounded. And then they get the flanking bonus. They get they may have like bonuses that you don't realize to flanking. They could sneak attack you, those kinds of things. So yeah. I'm not saying that this is a bad build. I'm just stating that like by the time that like unless like your GM is using tactics that are making them much stronger, having this high of an AC isn't necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. Mainly because if they have like weapon focus, greater weapon focus, or anything, like if they have fighter levels, then and they're 20, if there's a 20th level fighter and they have a Vorpal weapon, all they need to do is roll natural 20 on you, and you just die anyway. So honestly, you're gonna want to try to negate how they get their natural 20. Not necessarily have a high AC. But that's also what your party members are for, and this is probably something that you could do with different characters, different builds, different anything. I probably would forgo the War Priest level, because we're already getting a pretty high bonus to our AC from other locations, so losing that +4 to AC isn't gonna be that big of a deal. And I probably would instead just go full monk with this. Go full like 10 levels of monk, 10 levels of duelist, and do it that way. and maybe just go Unchained Monk, call it a day, and then like see what goes on from there. I'm not really a big fan of multi-classing unless you're going for like a very specific prestige class. The reason why I state that is because prestige classing or multi-classing just feels kind of weird to do, in my honest opinion. And before you ask, no, Barbarian does not get a bonus to their AC. Barbarians do not get bonuses to their AC, technically. So, yeah. Do not think that Barbarians get a bonus to their AC. Technically, I'm not really a big fan of the Unchained Barbarian's Rage. Just because I think it, I think I might end up just changing the normal Barbarian. If I ever, like, I might just change the normal Barbarian to instead state that the temporary increase to, instead of giving you a bonus, gives you a bonus to your Constitution score, but, you're not likely, your hit points do not change, into the negative, maybe. I don't really know. Because generally what ends up happening is that if a barbarian goes unconscious after a specific level, they just die. They have no way of staying alive, and they just end up dead. Normal barbarians just have that problem of they'll rage and then they'll just die. So... So, yeah. The only issue is that Blood Rager still does the same thing as for Blood Raging. It still increases, stats instead of, let me just double check. Does it do it? Yeah, it increases your strength and constitution as well as morale bonus to will saves. Addition, and he takes a -2 penalty. Yeah, I probably would just change out Blood Rage, or either change out Blood Rage to be similar to the Unchained Barbarian's Rage. To be flat bonuses on melee attack rolls. Melee thrown weapon. I'd have to go into more details, but that's my stupid build for the day. And the build's done at 17th level, and that's the issue. This build is not going to be... Well, technically this build is done once you get to, like... Once you get to your intelligence score and duelist levels. Everything else is just bonus. Now, technically you could have done this a lot earlier and just went into Sword Saint Magus. But then you're going into three separate base classes, all with different functionalities, instead of just sticking to one or two classes that can do a couple of things. And that's the only main issue that I have with it. And even then, you would only want to go into like 6 levels of Sword Saint Magus in order to get it done. I wouldn't even want to do anything else after that. Some people would say, "Oh, just go the full like extra like 8 levels and do this and you'd be good." I'm like, cool. No, thank you. So I'm just gonna ignore some of that stuff because I'm not a big fan of it. It's one of those things that I haven't really been a big fan of people just like multi-classing just to get the most amount out of a number instead of multi-classing for very specific reasons in story. But it's the only thing is that in Pathfinder First Edition, you kind of build toward, you don't really build, you build a build, you make a build, not make a character sometimes. And that's just an issue with Pathfinder First Edition. I'm not going to say it's the right thing to do, and I'm not going to say it's the wrong thing to do, But I am going to say that it is an issue if, like, you want to be... There's a thing of being optimal and then being min-max, and for me, this is min-maxing. You're min-maxing your AC to be as high as possible without armor. And sometimes it's just not fun because the GM is not having fun when their monster cannot hit for no reason other than you've just made that specific thing very high. And there's really no counter to AC besides one other thing, which is just make your touch AC stupidly low or make you flat-footed or do another thing that might make it easier against you. But, like, that's the only thing that I have with it. And it's one of the few things that I don't really like about, like, min-maxing. Trying to min-max your build so that you can squeeze that extra point of damage. And I'm like, why are you trying to squeeze 2 to 3 extra points of damage when it's better to go to do what you do already, but kind of make yourself slightly more versatile in a specific location. In my honest opinion, everybody should have a separate thing to do inside of combat besides just hit the target. And that's probably just something that I'm going to mention to people who are in my games. If you're playing a martial, you can just hit the target, but just remember that you have access to other things that you can do. Going with a reach weapon, you could do other things. Prestige classes are cool. As well as some other things. I don't know how, like I said, I think that this build could probably work in a vacuum, but in any other situation, I don't think this specific build would work as easily. I don't think this build would work at all. I think this build would have major problems early on. Because you would have to go monk. I would say go monk 6 levels, and then go right into duelist. And then you would be forced to really use a weapon. And you either get the parry option or you do your flurry of blows. In my honest opinion, you probably could take a monk archetype that got rid of flurry of blows. But that's just me. I would also probably say that going into something like fighter or ranger or slayer or something like that would be better into going into duelist instead of sticking to monk. Monk is really hard to multi-class out of because you want to make your fists do the thing. You want to punch people. That's why you play monk. You don't want to grab an exotic weapon and then hit people. You want to hit people with your fists. And I understand that, and I would honestly state that maybe, but that's just neither here nor there. So, yeah. Alrighty. I don't really think I've got really much of anything else to really discuss today. For those of you that did just probably hop in, do note that I am looking to do a session 0 on Sunday. It will likely not be streamed, but the campaign itself will be streamed. We will be doing some games. We'll be building characters, getting a feel for the characters, getting a feel for everything else, figure out what it is that you need to do, probably somewhat learn the system if you want to. But I'm mainly looking to see if the players gel well and all that other stuff. So I am going to go ahead and call stream, and because it's almost been 3 hours and I really need to go do some other stuff today. So we're going to go ahead and figure out who might be live, because it might be that nobody's live. Or at least nobody that I've been able to raid in a while. you know what? Since insert's live, we're going to go ahead and rate insert. I've never been able to really rate insert, so we'll go ahead and rate insert. Alrighty. So, thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you guys later.